Hello, everyone.
Hello. All right. Let's make sure we're live in the group.
Okay, while Jen's getting this set up, if you're seeing this, we want you to know this is a live Q&A. So feel free to drop your questions below. I'll be scanning through as Jen's going through this awesome content. As you have questions, drop them in here. And we will definitely answer them as we go along.
I am so proud of us. We know how to get things done. That's all I know. One way or another, we get where we're supposed to go. Okay. All right. And we are officially live. Yay.
Yes. Hey, everybody.
Amazing. When a good plan comes together. All right. So, Susie, how are you today?
I'm so good. Jen, I'm so good because of what you're going to do today. Guys, Jen is my dietitian. I don't know about you, but I have brought Jen into my world for very selfish reasons because I need her. I need her so bad. Deep in the fitness side of things, but I need more food knowledge. And Jen, you're the woman. You're the woman that teaches the way that it makes sense.
That's what we're here for, to make menopause make sense, right? That's exactly what we're here for. So, what are we going to talk about today? We are going to talk about unlocking your weight loss potential in menopause because we know that many of you are struggling with that very thing in this stage of life. It is one of those things where a lot of times we are walking around and we look down and we're like, what in the heck just happened? Haven't changed anything, still doing the same thing, eating the same foods, exercising the same way. And here we are just gaining weight and having belly fat and having a lot of bloating and discomfort, and it's just uncomfortable. So I want to break some things down for you today in unlocking that weight loss potential in menopause, because it is possible to lose weight. It really, really is. It can be an incredibly frustrating process, but that's why Susie and I do what we're doing, because it's more than just eat less and exercise more. And if I hear that one more time, I think I'm going to punch somebody. So we don't want to do that. All right. So let's talk about this. So hello and welcome, and thank you for being here. No matter what you are struggling with, no matter where you're at in this menopause journey, if you're perimenopause, menopause, postmenopause, we are glad that you're here because we are all in this together. And if we come together, when we come together and we talk about these things, it takes the scariness out of it. It takes the, I don't know what to do out of it. It really does open up a wide variety of things that we can do to make all of this make sense and make it a much happier journey. So a little bit about us. I'm going to have Susie introduce herself as well. So for those of you that are new to our world, because we get people coming into our world new every single day, which is really awesome. We love that you're here. I have been a dietitian for, 30 plus years, which is crazy to think about. I have been a therapist for that long as well. And the reason that I wanted to go back and get my degree in guidance and counseling and become a licensed therapist is because this stuff is so emotionally charged and mentally charged. And I was finding that when I was working with clients as what I like to call a baby dietitian, I wasn't moving the needle for people. I wasn't helping them to get the success because we were just talking about the physical stuff, how much broccoli to eat and how many cookies not to eat, whatever. And it really didn't make any sense, And now fast forward to menopause and all the rules are changed. All the game has changed completely. And so we really have to look at that mental and emotional side of these things, because if we're not mentally and emotionally more stable, nothing changes, nothing moves. So Susie, please tell us what you do and on the amazing piece that you bring to the Menopause Empowerment Circle, because without you, we're just talking about nutrition and that gets boring after a while. So what do you bring to the table?
Oh, but it's so important. It's such a valuable piece for me personally. So I am a personal trainer. I've been certified since 2009, and I also have a bachelor's degree in health education and community wellness. And my focus is on the athletic side of things. So I was a personal trainer at a gym for many years, and well, not for many years, for a few years. And pretty quickly, within the first couple of years, like Jen was talking about being a baby fitness trainer, I found there were really three types of clients. There were the 20-something women. There were the 30, 40, 50, 60 women, so the midlife women, and then there were men. And I could get results teaching the way that I was taught to teach for the 20-somethings and the men. But the women aged 35 and older were struggling. And that drove me crazy because that was most of my clients. They would come in, I would be told exactly how to train them by a bunch of men, and then I would train them that way and they would give no results. Or worse, they would either get hurt or they would even start gaining weight. Then they would come back to me and be like, what is wrong with this? I hired you to help me lose weight. And it was like this crazy battle. So after like a year of this, I decided to quit the gym and figure out what was actually happening. So I started my own fitness training company and started working solely with women. And we nailed it. Like we really got down into the nitty gritty of what is working and why it's working. And then within the past like 8 years, all this awesome research has come out about women in this phase of life that totally validated all the things that we were doing. And it was like, okay, this makes sense. This suddenly makes menopause make sense. And so to go from, experience in helping these women to lose weight by, focusing on strength training and focusing on fueling their bodies instead of restricting, that's how we got results for these women and kept results. That was the other thing. That was the best part, is no more yo-yo results. And so anyway, we were doing all this fitness training and things like that. And then this research came out that really validated what we were doing. But a lot of women wanted a deeper look at food. They wanted a deeper look at why I'm craving these things, or how I can stay consistent, and how I can feel good about what I'm eating. And I couldn't help them because, you guys, this has been a struggle for me my whole life. I've always struggled. As a Division I athlete, I was told to eat 3,500 calories a day in order to put on muscle, but they didn't tell me what to eat. And so I just started eating everything I could find. And I was a cheap, starving college student. And so I was eating bagels and I was eating macaroni and cheese by the containers, like just crazy amounts of carbs. And so I got pretty addicted to carbs pretty early on. And after, I was no longer a Division I athlete and I had had some babies, weight gain became a problem and it became a struggle. So I got really into researching what is actually happening and how to fuel my body and things like that. And I got what I consider to be a surface level understanding that I was able to maintain and do pretty well for myself, but I didn't feel comfortable helping my clients. And so after coaching the fitness side of things for about 10 years, I decided I needed that food half of the equation. And I was like, I got to find somebody that can fill this gap, this space, this hole in my coaching programs that I really can't help these women with. And walks into my life, Jen. God led me to Jen and I found her and I just was like, oh, like a godsend. You are just a breath of fresh air. The way that you teach food, it makes it, first of all, it makes sense. That's what we're all about, is making all of this make sense. And then second of all, it makes it possible. You guys, something that I struggled with for years and years, and something I felt uncomfortable with helping other female clients that I had, suddenly made sense. And it suddenly was like, oh, actually, I can do that. It went totally from an overwhelming thing where I was dreading making family dinners every night to feeling totally empowered. That's why it's called the Menopause Empowerment Circle. Jen is really good at empowering you to know not only what to do, but how to do it and how to enjoy doing it. No more restricting, no more dieting, no more feeling pressure or ridiculousness about all of the conflicting information out there about counting macros and tracking these specific percentages and all of these specific things. Jen's like, oh, actually, did you know you don't need any of that? And so I was like, wait, what? So brought Jen into my life. And then we decided to partner our programs together. And here we are. We both specialize in this area of life for women, this phase of life, because we know that this is, in my opinion, the most confusing in the health world. After the age of 35, all the information gets convoluted. So Jen and I are here to help you to make it all make sense. Jen, let's get into it. Tell us what you're going to tell us today, because I am super excited.
Well, can you imagine a world where food actually is enjoyable again? It's not about how many calories. It's not about the macronutrients. For those of you that are like, what the heck is a macronutrient? The protein, the fiber, the carbohydrates, all of that stuff. It's not about adding more busyness to an already busy life. So we like to bring it all together, the nutrition, the exercise, the sleep, the stress, all that kind of stuff when we talk about it. And this is us. This slide is us. Like, we talk about the fun side of food. We want food to be enjoyable. We want exercise to be enjoyable. We are not at this stage of life to feel crappy all day long and not be able to enjoy things, right? So this picture is where I'm actually baking with friends, because a lot of times people are like, oh, I can't eat sugar, or I can't do this, or I can't do that. And it's like, but why? Like, I don't want to live in a world where we're not enjoying food, where it's not a part of our existence and it's actually enjoyable. Now, there are some things that we're going to talk about in a few slides that are helpful, supportive of hormone balance and that kind of a thing. But in my mind, it's also helpful and enjoyable to bake with friends and have a good afternoon where your like, stress is less and you're actually enjoying it and it's fun. And so we want to bring the fun back to food and the fun back to all of this. But along the way, we also have to be committed, right? So there's so many times where we're making changes, we're thinking about food, we're thinking about our nutrition, and it's like, ugh, it's just so hard and it's so much and I don't want to. And we get a little bit of that. I always like to call our 2-year-old selves go in and we stomp our feet and we're like, I'm going to eat cookies because I can eat cookies. Yes, you can eat cookies. But if you're committed to the long-term solutions, you're committed to your long-term health, then you'll quickly realize that cookies and ice cream and a glass of wine every once in a while and some coffee, like none of that matters in the big scheme of things. If you're only drinking coffee or only drinking cookies, okay, but when we're committed to those long-term results and those long-term solutions, it's about balance. So I want to break down some quick steps to make sure that you're on the right path to losing 10 to 20 pounds of weight in 90 days. I know you're like, oh my gosh, what are you talking about? I can't lose anything. It all is impossible. But when you start to really break down, as we do in the Menopause Empowerment Circle, the steps that we can look at, the different ways, the unique ways that we can look at weight loss at this stage of life, it's a complete game changer. We're not chasing a number on the scale. Yes, weight is about how much that scale says we weigh. Okay, that's fine. But there's so many other things that we need to consider and think about. Maybe it's a matter of eating more calories than what you're eating. Maybe it's a matter of eating more often during the day. Maybe it's a matter of taking your stress and, dare I say, obsession with food from here and making it just a little bit easier, just making meal planning a little bit less cumbersome. So we're going to break down some of these things. So what are we going to talk about today? What are we prioritizing? Because we've only got 15 or so minutes here. We're not going to spend hours and hours. I'd love to. I have hours and hours of things to share with you, but that's what we do in the Menopause Empowerment Circle. We want to give you a taste of what that looks like today so that you can make the best decision for you and get some quick wins, some things that you can use absolutely today. But hopefully this also gives you a picture of what is possible for you when everyone else is saying that weight is just part of getting older and you just have to learn to live with it. If you've ever gone to your provider and they're like, go lose weight, and you're like, great, how do I do that? Or they say the opposite of, you know what, don't worry about it. You're in midlife. You're just going to keep gaining weight and there's nothing you can do. Because I've had clients say that to me before, that their providers say that to them. We are here to say that there is a different way, but we have to prioritize things differently. So we're going to talk about prioritizing foods that help to support that healthy metabolism. We're going to talk about some of those surprising do's and don'ts around food in menopause. And then we're going to talk about the thing that women forget when they're trying to lose weight in menopause. And this is just one of the things. We tend to forget a lot of things because brain fog is a thing. However, we're going to talk about one of those things. So what are some things that we want to make sure we're doing? We're focusing on what we call phytonutrients and phytoestrogens smartly. We want to think about how do we incorporate some of these things into what we're doing that makes sense. So if we're having things like chickpeas, flax seeds, beans, seeds, lentils, colorful veggies, when we have color on our plate, that's always a good sign that we're headed in the right direction. If you think about the things that we talk about that are not as nourishing for our bodies, so if we have a lot of brown or beige food, we already know that we're not probably getting all of the variety of nutrients. So if the only thing you do today is you look at your dinner plate and you're like, there's no color on that plate, then we probably want to add a little bit of color to that. What's the best and easiest and quickest way to do that? Add a fruit or a vegetable. We'll talk about fruits and vegetables some other time as far as like what variety, but add some color. That's a really quick and easy way for you to add some nutrition, add some of these phytoestrogens and phytonutrients really quickly. You probably don't even have to go to the store. You probably just have to go to the refrigerator and grab something out of there or your freezer and maybe get some frozen veggies. But this is a great way to balance hormones really quickly. And you don't even know that you're doing it, because if you're adding chickpeas to a salad, it's not even really a really hard thing to do, right? But it's the mindfulness and it's the consistency of doing that. So I want to talk a little bit about one of our favorite clients, Tammy. She has lost over 100 pounds. She has less joint pain. She feels like herself again. The biggest win for her, though, take away the 100 pounds of weight loss, take away the less joint pain, and take away the fact that she feels like herself again. She emotionally is so much more stable. What does that mean? She's not crying every day. She's sleeping better. She feels happier. She can engage in things in life that she wants to do again. So in the Menopause Empowerment Circle, with our help, she was able to find that community, those like-minded people that could help support her on this journey. So the tools, the confidence, all of that stuff was there. But this is the magic, you guys. This is what happens when you bring together a group of women and two experts that can help guide that journey. Susie and I know a lot about hormone balance. We know a lot about helping you to get the progress that you're looking for. But when people show up and they do the work and they show up for themselves, this is where the magic happens. So we can't do this for you. We wish we could. Trust me, we wish we could. But this is when a person comes in and works with us in the Menopause Empowerment Circle and shows up for themselves. And that's the magic. That really is the magic. And when that happens, oh my gosh, it unlocks so many things. So many things. We don't even have an hour to go over all of those things. But just so you know, this is possible. And Tammy was one who came in and she's like, I've tried it all. I've done it all and none of it's worked. And so it's been a really cool journey to watch her go through all of these things and see the transformation for her. It's a beautiful thing. And it's an honor for us to be able to walk with you guys as you do this. So the number one mistake that women make when it comes to nutrition in menopause is thinking that it's like, okay, when I do this, give me the 10-point list, right? Give me the list of things, give me the list of foods to eat, give me the meal plan, give me the snacks that I can have, and I'm going to do that. I'm going to be your best student ever. And I'm like, great. But here's what happens, right? Because success actually is more on the right side. And we know this. We don't want to know it. This is where the 2-year-old comes out again. We don't want to know it, but we know that there is no straight path. If there was a straight path, ladies, let's be real for a minute. If there was a straight path, do we really think that we couldn't just chat GPT that? That we couldn't just ask chat, who I am choosing to say is a girl this today instead of a guy. We always refer to chat as a guy. I'm just going to say it's a girl. If we couldn't ask her and say, look, what are the 10 things that I need to do? And she gave you that 10-point list. Don't you think we would do that by now, right? But that's the crazy thing about hormones is we're all over the place. So what we do in the Menopause Empowerment Circle is help to ease that a little bit. But we're also very realistic about what that looks like, right? So it's a progress. It's a journey. It takes some time. So what are some other things that we can do to help on this journey? We can add fermented and probiotic foods slowly. Please hear the word slowly. We go all in. We're like, I'm going to add 35 grams of fiber to my day, which, by the way, fun fact, that's how much fiber you should have in a day. We're going to add all this fiber. We're going to eat our protein. We're going to do all these things. And then we're bloated, we're tired, we're uncomfortable. We either have diarrhea or constipation, neither of which is fun. So we want to make sure that we're making these changes slowly. Our bodies are not meant to change overnight. We are not going to get the progress overnight. We need to make sure that we're adding these foods in the way that it makes sense for our body. So if you've never eaten kefir, for example, if you've never had that as a part of what you're doing, and all of a sudden you're doing it 3 or 4 times a day, don't do that because you're going to be really mad and you're not going to feel good. So we want to make sure that we're easing our body into things. So when Susie talks about exercise, she's not going to tell you to go grab the 50-pound weight and throw it over your head and start running 5 miles the first day, right? We wouldn't think of doing that with weights. We wouldn't think of doing that with exercise. If we do, we don't get very far. But with nutrition, we're like, I'm going to throw all the things in. I'm going to make this smoothie. It's got all this stuff in it. Then I'm going to eat all these vegetables. I'm going to have all this protein. And we expect to make all of the changes at the same time. But when we start to kind of slow ourselves down and really start to look at what's the next best thing I can do, can I add some probiotic? Can I add some yogurt to a snack? And start to allow your body to readjust and give yourself some time to make that progress, you're going to feel so much better and your body is going to thank you because it is a progress. It's a slow progression, right? So calming the food guilt. Drop a 1 in the chat if you've ever struggled struggled with food guilt. I know that that has been a big story that I've heard from a lot of clients. And I and Susie have both had that guilt and that shame around some food choices, right? But it's part of the journey. It's part of that understanding. It's part of that I'm feeling guilty about this. What is actually going on? And understanding that emotional part of why we're eating what we're eating and what we're doing. So calming that guilt matters more than calming the calories or decreasing the calories. And so many times when we start to look at that emotional and mental side of food, then we make some changes to that, like we did with Helen. We were able to really help her see that she was stopping herself from losing weight unintentionally. Wasn't her fault. It's just what she learned. It's what she thought was the best way to do. We're always doing the best we can, right? So when we can start to look at that a little differently and we can make some of those changes, and we can make changes to how we're experiencing food. What are some of that stress that's around food? What are some of those obsessive thoughts that we have about food? And we start to look at that differently. She was able to start losing weight. The bloating got better. She's able to have more energy. She's more consistent with her workouts. All of those things happened because we looked at the guilt, not how many calories are we getting from a certain food or from a certain meal. It was all about the guilt and the shame that she was experiencing with those calories. It's really interesting how when we start to look at things differently, you probably heard the story about the airplane. If you change the direction by 1%, you'll end up in a completely different place than where you thought you were going to be. 1%. So if we start to think about changing our nutrition 1% at a time, that means that we're going to end up in a completely different place than where we've been in the last 6 months, a year, 2 years, whatever the case might be. Okay, so what else can we do? We can use food timing to regulate the metabolism and the blood sugar. We talk a lot about blood sugar in the Menopause Empowerment Circle because blood sugar matters. What we eat, what types of foods we eat, the timing of our meals, what we put together with our meals makes a difference. So we want to regulate that metabolism and that blood sugar. When we skip meals, when we restrict. Now, I'm not talking about intermittent fasting. That's a different conversation. But if we're skipping meals and in our head, we're saying, well, if I just don't eat those calories, even though I'm hungry, then I'm going to lose weight. That's the kind of thought process we want to disrupt. We want to stop that because if you're hungry, it's your body signaling that it's time for food. It needs some nutrients. And the more inconsistent you are with feeding your body when it's asking for nutrients, the harder it's going to be for you to lose weight because your body's like, it rebels. It's just like, you know what? That's nice, but I'm not going to burn calories if I can't trust you to give me more. So it really does, doing this piece where we're learning our body is learning to trust us again, helps with bloating, helps with insulin balance, which is blood sugar, helps with mood shifts. Did you know that you can be happier by eating more food? It's amazing what happens. And when you're not happy, and at least for me, if I'm not in a good mood, everything feels wrong. Everything feels bad. Everything feels harder. It's like walking through quicksand. So when you start to improve that mood, all of a sudden, planning meals is easier. Eating the right foods to nourish your body is easier. It all becomes easier because we're better balanced. Okay, I love the analogy of a three-legged stool when it comes to healthy things. If anything is off balance, then we will fall off the stool. And ladies, we are in menopause. We don't need to be falling off of stools. So let's not do this, okay? So it might be, we could look at this as, is our nutrition in balance? Is our exercise balanced? Is our stress under control? We can look at the legs of the stool differently, but I want to give you just a little bit different view of that, right? So one of the things that I want you to think about with the legs of the stool today is not following trendy things. Keto can be very trendy. Extreme fasting, fasting for like 5 days or 7 days or whatever it is now that people are doing can be very trendy. Doing cleanses can be very trendy. Ultra low carb things can be very trendy. So we want to get away from the trends and we want to think about, what does my body need to support me? Because your body is an amazing engine and we need fuel to be able to do that. We don't want to ignore we don't want to ignore some of those trigger foods. Many people like caffeine. Many people like sugar. Many people like wine. And we have talked about this before, Susie. I don't want to live in a world where I can't eat my son's chocolate cake that he makes that is literally the best thing ever. I don't want to live in a world where that doesn't exist, right? But I know that when I eat that, there's going to be some things that happen, right? It can affect my mood. It can affect my appetite. It can affect my sugar cravings. So I'm very strategic about what I do with that. I'm going to eat that with a meal that has more protein in it, that probably is lower in carbohydrate, that has more fruits and veggies in it. So I'm going to get more fiber. So it's about being strategic, not avoiding these things 100%, because that's what helps to level out that stress. And that's what helps to maintain the better balance of nutrition in midlife. And then we also want to make sure that we're not neglecting, excuse me, the micronutrient needs that we have. So for one example might be with, prevention of osteoporosis or encouraging better bone health. We want to make sure that we're having things like calcium and vitamin D and magnesium and zinc and those kinds of micronutrients. So we're balancing our foods, our body, our stool in the best way possible. So it's all important that we're looking at that. So don't fall off the stool. And if you need some help with not falling off the stool, we're here for you. Okay, so another example of we do health differently, right? We look at health when we are looking at how can we balance all of these things. It's about the stress. It's about the physical activity. It's about the nutrition. It is about feeling good and just living our best lives. Because again, if we're always feeling restricted in everything that we're doing, we're not going to live our best lives. So we laugh a lot. We tell those embarrassing stories. We talk about things that people don't really want to talk about, like the rashes that you might get, or that hair that's places we don't want to think about it, or the fact that our relationship is maybe a little bit off because we're not interested in sex anymore. And what does that look like? So we talk about the uncomfortable things that people don't know who else to talk to about in a group of women where it's okay to talk about it. It's okay because it's not about judgment and it's not about, anybody having like a competition, right? We, as women, sometimes we can get in competition with other people where it's about balance. It's about finding that joy. And it's about really making the commitment to ourselves. And that's what I mean here is committing to what it is that you want. Because when you show up for you, it's so incredibly powerful. You showing up for you and other people showing up for you at the same time, it's just a win-win. It just definitely is a place where we want to be. So I'm going to move on to a little bit about what the Menopause Empowerment Circle includes. If you're catching this on the replay, or you maybe you're catching this live and you kind of missed the first part, we're going to have the replay in the Facebook group. So you're more than welcome to go through that information again. Hopefully that was helpful to kind of give you some insight into maybe a different way of looking at nutrition when it comes to midlife. Because I think we spend way too much time talking about calorie deficits and restriction and all that kind of stuff. And we have to be gentler and kinder to our bodies in menopause. So, Susie, kind of start taking us through what is the Menopause Empowerment Circle and why is this so much better of an opportunity for women than some of the other programs out there? Because there are a lot of them. I'm not going to, we both know that there's a lot of different ways that people can get involved, but it's not very often that you see a dietitian and a fitness professional in the same program. I haven't seen it very many places before. I don't know if you have, but I certainly haven't. So to walk us through kind of what the steps are when it comes to the Menopause Empowerment Circle.
Yeah, so the Menopause Empowerment Circle came together, one, because Jen started it, and then two, because I walked into it. Because if you've seen that movie Rocky, where they're like, what is Adrian to? And he's like, we fill gaps. Jen and I, we fill gaps. So here's two things, you guys. To have a dietitian as a therapist is a beautiful thing because there is so much mental involvement when it comes to food. And I love her approach on that. All those things that she just said about like, make it simple and that you don't have to restrict and not following the fads and finding some balance, but also joy. That's so important. So that's kind of why I wanted to partner with Jen specifically. And then for me on the fitness side of things, one of the other reasons I left the gym is because I was required to charge $75 an hour. $75 an hour. Jen is required legally as a one-to-one dietitian to charge somewhere between what, 150 and 250 an hour, right? And a therapist, same thing. She's got to charge that because that is what our certifications are required to do. But here's the thing, you guys, with this model that we have created, we don't have to do that. Both of us had issue with the fact that only a select few were allowed financially to be able to get the help that they needed. And it frustrated the heck out of both of us. And so that was another consideration that we had when we first got together. We're like, do we want to offer a one-to-one program or do we want to do some other way of doing things. And we decided to come up with these two options. So we've got a standard membership and a premium membership. And premium members get us 3 times a week. So if you're like, all right, I need the accountability because by Tuesday I've forgotten what my goals were that I set on Monday. You're not alone. That's why we came up with this. So many people need that. And so premium members get 3 check-ins with us every single week. And then standard members get us every single Monday. And so you get us both. Like, the price that you would pay to meet with a dietitian 12 times in a month would be somewhere in the $2,000 range. If to meet with her once a week would be over $600. Same thing with a fitness trainer, over about $1,000 and about $300, depending on which model you're going for. Both of us were like, we're not doing that anymore. Like, we don't want a select few CEOs to be able to afford a dietitian and fitness trainer. Like, this should be everybody, and especially women in midlife. We know that you have a million things that you're juggling. And so we're like, yeah, let's find some answers in here. Another thing is, I brought Jen in because I didn't have all the answers. But guess what? Both of us together also don't have all the answers. So we decided that we're going to bring in every single month, we're going to bring in 1 to 2 specialists or guest speakers that are outside of our scope. So if you guys have questions about like hormone replacement therapy or about supplements or about the GLP-1s, things like that, we're going to bring people in that specialize in those areas so that you can get that expert help that you need without paying $1,000 for a physician visit or $1,000 for a course from one of these specialists. They come in here and they do it for free because of the way that we've set up the program. It's awesome. And we're so excited to have these guests here for you. The next thing that you're going to get in here is a clear path. And so if you've ever asked some questions or even Googled, hey, how do I lose weight in menopause? You get like 1,000,000 hits and like 100,000 websites. And then they're like, hey, you should read these 84 self-help books that are all 9 hours long if you're audiobooking them. Like, what? Nobody has time for that. So what we do is we go through the research for you and we break it down into very simple things. And we do one at a time. So that way you're not overwhelmed by the process. We're not going to give you a list of here's 20 things we need you to do every day and then burn you out in 2 days. It's not how we do things. We do it very differently so that you can, first of all, feel supported, and second of all, feel capable. And then you feel confident that you can do these things. And so we teach a model called the 12 branches of health, and we go through all of this stuff in a way that is very effective and very efficient. We very much value your time. And so that's how we do things. You get a weekly Q&A with each of us so that you can have that personalization all throughout the process. If you were to pay for something like this, to buy these programs and to pay for the dietitian and the fitness trainer for 12 or 4 sessions a month, we're talking somewhere in $4,000 range, you guys. Who in the world is spending $4,000 on the help that you need to get what you need in midlife health? Like, nobody. If you are, congratulations. That's awesome for you. I am not. Like, I am not doing anything like that. That price range to me is out of control and totally out of reach for so many people. So that's why Jen and I are doing it this way, so that we can break it down and make it possible for a lot of you. So Jen, what is actually possible? What are we doing?
Well, so let's talk for just a second about what's actually stopping people from reaching their goals. And, the part about being able to afford it, as amazing as it is that we get to offer this, is really a small percentage when we start to look at why people aren't necessarily reaching their goals. So for those of you that are like, I've tried everything else, I've spent money on everything, I'm not doing this again, I can't spend more money. We would encourage you to really think about what is it that's actually keeping you stuck. And really, the lack of accountability, not knowing what to do, not being able to stick with it. Those are all a big part. But the biggest part is really struggling to prioritize yourself. So what we have been very, very focused on in the Menopause Empowerment Circle is helping you to prioritize you in simple, easy ways. Because nobody, like Susie said, nobody has time to do all of this research and all of this stuff. So we make it very, very simple. We call it habit stacking. We're talking small habits that we build over time so that you are able to do those habits, to stick with those things and keep adding to them so that this is a lifestyle change. This isn't just a one and done. This isn't, I'm going to do this for a month and lose 10 pounds and then be done and move on to something else. This is, you're sticking with it. And so that's very much a big part of what we're doing. And by doing that, by being able to offer that, we're offering all the things that Susie is talking about, but we're doing it at a much more reasonable price. So if finances are an issue, which, you know, the world is the world, right? So there's a lot of struggle out there that people are experiencing. But when we can prioritize our health is our biggest wealth. If you're feeling like you're, you know, struggling with things nutritionally, strength wise, stress wise, all of that kind of stuff, if you're not sleeping, if you're really just feeling off, this is really a place that we would encourage you to think about. Your money is so important. This is a very important place for you to spend the time and the effort, because the financial gains, the emotional gains, all of that doesn't come anywhere near what the actual cost of this is. Like, this is so good for all of you to be thinking about, because prioritizing ourselves, we don't do that, especially as women. We don't do that. We tend to prioritize the other people in our lives, the family, the friends, everybody else, our coworkers. We prioritize everybody else except for our own health and our own wellness. So it's a really great opportunity for you to step in and see what that can look like. So Susie, tell them about the free trial that we have, because I love this.
So one thing, we get a ton of questions all day long. We're getting lots of messages of like, oh, I'm not sure if this will work for me. You know, they want to know what kind of workout plans do you do, and what kind of dietitian, and what kind of this and what kind of that. So we decided to just give you a free week. Like, come in here and try it. Come and see what it's like. Come to a coaching call. Come to, you know, see what these courses are that are in here, and see what the recipes are, and the workout library, and all of these things that we have in here. Come check them out. And so you get to try it for a week for free. So go to mecreset.com/free. And that will direct you to this website right here, where you can click on that big yellow button and get your free trial. So you're going to come in here and you're going to be able to just experience what it's like to have a personal trainer and a dietitian on a daily basis, whenever you need us. It's a beautiful thing that we're able to offer, and we're excited to give you guys an invitation to just come and try it. Like, we want you in here. We want everybody to have access to this. This is one of the main drivers the reason why we're doing it this way, is so that you can have access to the help that you need. If you come in here and after a week, you're like, actually, this isn't for me, great. We're all for that too. We want you to find what is best for you. But if you come in here and you're like, actually, this really could be what I need, fabulous. Come and join the Menopause Empowerment Circle. We would love to work with you. Mm-hmm. While you guys are maybe on the fence or making your decision, I'll tell you a quick story. A couple of years ago, I was trying to run an online business, doing my personal training. After COVID, it totally switched the model. I used to coach in person, and then I had to move everything online. And I don't know how to run an online business. I'm a fitness trainer. I'm not an online person. I haven't had a desk job in my whole life. And so to figure out how to start and run an online company was a big ask for me. And I thought, oh, I got all this time. I'll just read all the books and we'll watch all the YouTube videos and learn how to do it myself. And I did that for about 6 months, and I totally burned myself out, and I was exhausted, and I still had no clients. And I was like, all right, I'm making no difference in this world. What do I do? And so I started looking for someone that could help me. And I actually reached out, or I had saved up some money, and I thought, you know what? I'm going to prioritize myself. I'm going to put this thing that is one of the biggest barriers in my life, I'm going to put it to rest by hiring someone that can help me get over this barrier. So I saved up some money, and I hopped on a call with a coach that I really trusted. Like, I'd followed this person for a while online, and I thought, you know what, this is some information that I really could get behind. I believe her. I can see how the vision comes together, and I trust what she's teaching. And the way that her content works just speaks to me. And so I reached out, and I wanted to join her program, and I'd saved about $500. And then it comes back, and the program was $2,500. It's 5 times more than I wanted to spend. And I just about cried. And I was so upset. And then I talked to my husband, and he's just like, you know what? If this is the thing you need, do it. Like, stop putting up excuses. Stop putting up reasons that you can't have the thing that you need. So my friends, apply this story to you. What are the excuses? What are the barriers that you have? If health is the thing that you need, we've just eliminated a lot of the barriers. You can do it from home. It's online. You can do it for free. You can try it for 7 days without paying $1. We're hoping that we can break down a lot of those barriers for you and help you make progress. And let me just tell you the end of that story. So I hired that coach. After 6 months of doing it by myself, I had made very little progress. I felt very overwhelmed, and there was a huge list of things that I needed to do, and I wasn't getting any of them done. And even the ones that I was getting done, I was like, I don't know if I did that right. You guys, within the first 2 weeks, this coach had given me direction. I had a direction. I knew exactly what to do. I was no longer reading books. I was no longer watching YouTube. I was no longer studying and learning and driving myself crazy. I was taking action. simple actions that felt like, okay, this almost feels too simple to be working. And then I would go in and do it. And then he would challenge me to do something harder. And I would do something a little bit harder. And then I would want to quit, but then I'd have to check in with him every Monday and every Friday. And I'd be like, okay, well, I have to do it because he's going to ask me if I did it. And then because of that accountability, I did it. I showed up for myself. And in 12 weeks, I made more progress, probably 10 times more progress, and 6 times more income. I was able to have 6 times more clients in that 3 weeks, or in that 3-month program, than I'd had in 6 months. So half the time, 6 times the results, and at least 10 times the peace of mind. So there were so many reasons that I should not have done this program. The finances and the time commitment and all of these things. Oh, I could probably find the information myself. That was all just excuses for me. And so I want to encourage you guys to ask yourself, what are your reasons that you're not getting the help that you need? If this is calling on you, if you're feeling like, okay, maybe I should just try this, come and try it for free. Go to mecreset.com and try it for free, you guys. We want to see you in here and we want to see you succeed. We've given you the clear pathway in here so that you know exactly what to do and when to do it. And then on Mondays and Fridays, we're going to check in with you and make sure that you're actually doing it, because a self-help book is good as you're reading it. But if you don't put it into action, it actually doesn't make any difference. So we want you to do the things, not just learn the things. How many of these webinars have you guys been to before? I've been to a lot of webinars that I then took no action afterwards. So we encourage you guys to take some action. Go to the free website right now and sign up right now, and we'll see you on our next coaching call for free.
Can you tell we're very passionate about this? All right, ladies, one more thing that we want to make sure you are aware of. We have a menopause ebook. Really simple, takes about 15 minutes to read it. If that's something that you're interested in, you can check that out, and we will drop the link for that below this video so you have an easy access to it. Ladies, thank you so much for being here. We are so excited to be able to offer this to you and just be a beacon of hope. We really are, we spend a lot of time really just, how do we help you? How do we help you? We ask ourselves that a lot. And we're always, innovating and thinking and challenging ourselves to be better coaches for you, because at the end of the day, this is what God is calling both of us to do. And so we are so honored to even have you on this call with us. We would love to walk further with you. If you have any questions, reach out to one of us. We are happy to answer anything else that you might have. But until then, have a wonderful rest of your day. We'll see you next week with another amazing topic, and have a great day, ladies. Talk to you soon.
Yeah, we'll see you guys in the MEC.